Hello and welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker here with another tea to taste. Let's go ahead and get this one started. Water's been brought to a boil. It's ready. Tea's ready. Tea equipment's ready. There's all kinds of different tea equipment. This is an Indian Darjeeling tea, so I thought I'd use a taster's cup, tea taster's cup. I'm going to use enough to cover the bottom surface of my tasting cup there. If I remember correctly, this holds in the neighborhood of 3 ounces, give or take a little bit. But I'm going to add enough water. You see I have a notch there, and that's where I'm going to be pouring through. But I'm going to add enough water to be just above the bottom of that notch there. Just below, I should say. That looks good. My water had been brought to an early boil. You'll hear different philosophies on that, but this one I choose to do early boil, not fully rolling heavy boil yet, and it's been sitting for a minute or less though there. So I'm gonna let that sit. Talk about this tea. This is from the Whittard Tea Company. This is a UK company. They have a website, uk.uk website. This is their Badamtam, which is an estate in Darjeeling. This is a Darjeeling First Flush. You can find 125 grams on the website. That's about 4.4 ounces for 12 Great British pounds. Of course, in current exchange, at the time of posting here, that's going to be more than 12 US dollars. So that's something, but exchange rates fluctuate a little bit here and there. So something to consider. Looking at this tea, I'm going to talk about the main components of the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and the liquor. So I'm going to go ahead now, get into the dry leaf for a moment, give it a smell here. Has the characteristic Darjeeling components there. I mean, the strongest one is a light floral, also a little bit of a red grape skin and grapevine. It's a slightly woody kind of component with that wild grapevine type smell. But one of the sought-after components of a Darjeeling is the muscatel type aroma or taste there. Scooping out some of these leaves, actually that's a little bit too much. I can't really flatten that out, but scooping out these leaves and looking at them, you can see the silver tips there. You can see that there's quite, and I mean it's not the majority is not that. It is more of I would say the silvery part is in the 10 to 20% range there. The other parts are in a light green region of color, moving over towards a little bit of a greenish brown. You don't get a lot of heavy, dark black tea, bister brown gray type colors. This one's a bit lighter because it is that first flusher often. That more in the greenish air range tinge there. Components here, of course these don't look to be full size leaves. These look to be portions of leaves, and they're going to be in the probably most of them are going to be 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch in size. They're going to be fairly twisted so that they look fairly narrow. Not leaves that are, for the most part, leaves that are open or flat. So that really, not a whole lot to really dig through there. So I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to get my pitcher out. Now a tasting set has usually three parts. The cup itself, the lid, and then a bowl, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of that round, and so that the bowl is designed so that when you tip the tasting cup over, it will actually rest on top of the bowl without slipping or sliding or anything. So it allows you a nice smooth pour, and then you have because it's clear white porcelain, just like the cup, you're able to look in that bowl and see the color. To share the color a little bit more easily, I'm using this serving pitcher, and I'm going to pour just like so. Depending on how quickly and how conveniently you pour, you're going to have some that drips out. You want to be ready for those spills. If you're going to try to use a professional taster's cup like this, I'm going to shake out those last few drops there. course, you get a smoother pour when you place the lid has a hole for the air to flow through when you place that at what will become the top here. So that's near the handle. I'm going to talk about the wet leaf now, and to do that I'm going to turn this cup over and shake the leaves and some water, some tea onto my hand, but shake the leaves there onto the lid. Nice green appearance. There's a wider range of aromas coming off. There is a bit of a rose, dried rose coming off. There's still, and so that rose moves over towards that muscatel type component, that grape, sweet grape, fragrant grape type component there. The grapevine, the woody component is there, but it's underneath those others, so it is a more floral, fruity, sweet type of component there than it was in the dry leaf. Looking at the leaves, they've unfurled, and when they unfurl, you get a rust brown from some of the oxidation that took place, some of the stem or middle vein that became darker on the leaf. But a lot of it is a green, like an olive drab type of green of the leaves there, and so the colors have become a little bit more unified in that sense. But I'm going to move on now and get to the liquor here. Give that a swirl. Holding up to the light, you've got a nice golden brown type color there, a pale honey almost look to it, slightly a bit of a slight orange kind of amber tint there. But I'm going to pour and give this a smell a little bit too. So far, just here in the picture, aroma's moving a little bit back more towards that grapevine component there that we found in the dry leaf. Give us a taste. There's a tinge of astringency that plays well, that does well with the again, somewhere in the neighborhood of a red grape skin is probably the best specific taste you could apply to this. So it does have some sweetness, and especially in the aftertaste, it's not harshly bitter. There's not a heavy bitterness. There's a light astringency, but you don't really notice it because there is this kind of juicy sweetness building up in the back. It is as if you have chewed on that grape skin. That grape skin was a little bit, tart, a little bit bitter, but your mouth reacted and started to salivate, and so there's the salivation, the moisture there counteracts the astringency, pushes it to the back so that you get more of a kind of a sweetness with the mouth-watering aspect. Aromas and taste pretty strong, especially on the front, and stay in the back quite a bit as well. Fairly well extended. As I'm slurping and as I breathe in through my nose, then the flavors really hit the roof of my mouth and travel up into my nose there. So it's got some nice components to it. It's got a fairly, not overly intense, not too intense, but nice, bold flavor components and aroma profile there. It's not harshly astringent. It's not bitter. So when you look at this tea and the overall components, it's It's not an extremely nuanced tea, but it's got fairly consistent components to it. It's got something that you could drink fairly steadily and easily. So I would give this tea, I'd probably give this tea a 91. Like I said, good, consistent components, not excessive, not too bold, but firmly stated would be the best way to say it. So come back to Walker Tea Review to look for those teas that are full of nuance, that are firmly stated, and those to avoid as well.